Good morning. I'm Scott Leslie, Director of the Albany County Veteran Service Bureau. Welcome to our Honor a Veteran ceremony for the month of August. Today we're paying tribute to John Dwyer, veteran of World War II, served in the U.S. Navy.
We ask God to watch over the Dwyer family, as well as all of our veterans and their families. Remind us always that freedom, peace, and possibility can and will triumph as America remains one nation under God. God bless America. God bless our veterans. Amen.
I want to remind everyone, the freedoms we enjoy every day, I'll let it go because it's a vet. The freedoms we enjoy every day are because less than 1% puts that uniform on. Think about that. Less than 1% dons that military uniform to give us so much back. Whether you protest war, you protest anti-military, whatever it is because a veteran decided to raise their right hand and serve their country. Is why you enjoy it. And these men and women went off on campaigns, and you think from 1944 to 1946, serving in the Navy, you never know where you're going to end up. You never know where you're going to go. You didn't say, hey, I'd like to go to Florida and have a nice seaport and really enjoy myself for the next 2 years. And then you're off. You're off to the races. And sometimes you picked your MOS, sometimes you didn't. Sometimes, no offense, sir, the recruiter made you go a certain way. Said we need this MOS. But at the end of the day, you put that uniform on. And these vets that amazed me over the years from World War II, Korean, especially the Vietnam veterans, came back and didn't look for medals, they didn't look for pats on the back. They just came back and they led their community. And they could have quietly just fell in the background and not did a thing the rest of their life. And let me trust me when I say this, they're entitled to that. Because that commercial you see, they do more before 8 a.m. than most people do all day. It's truly a veteran. I remember the first time on military service, I'm like, damn, it's only 8 o'clock, and how much of a long day we got left?
Congressman Tonko sincerely regrets that he couldn't be here this morning, but he did want me to extend his appreciation for this opportunity to honor the life and memory of John Dwyer. These ceremonies really are a great way to start the month. They serve as a reminder for all of us, particularly who are in public service, as to why we are able to do what we do and why it's important that we do what we do. Our veterans lead by example. They walk the walk. They don't just talk the talk. And it's essential that we take the time each month, really each day, but each month to remember our veterans, to celebrate their lives and their service beyond their military service. Many gave when they came back home. They volunteered their time in the community, and certainly it appears that was the way for your father. So on behalf of Congressman Tonko and the constituents of the 20th Congressional District, it's my honor to be here this morning and to present to you a flag that was flown over our nation's capital in honor of John Leo Dwyer, Jr. May we always recall his memory fondly and remember today as just one of many days where we celebrate his life. Thank you.
And for a young man to come in and offer his service, offer his life potentially to his country is something that I think we need to remember at that granular individual level and to see it happen on the large scale. And that's what defined our victory, was our ability as a country to do that. I think it's important for us to remember that, remember the scale of that commitment, the size of it. That's why during the school year, it's nice to have the Albany High Junior ROTC cadets here, because I think for them to hear this and read about it and meet the families, they get to see the impact of that, because it's not just what you see on paper. It's the families that lived through that. It's the lessons that were passed down, the traditions.
We can never say thank you enough. And when we are able to stand here together as a community and remind ourselves of the sacrifices that came before us, I think it helps us to even more appreciate the freedoms that we have. And for me, it inspires me to do more. because no matter how many events many of us elected officials may attend and the work that we do on behalf of our constituents, when we are reminded of the sacrifices that have been made for us, to me, it demonstrates that this is just a very small effort on my part compared to the incredible sacrifices that were made so that we could stand here today.
You know, I learned in the biography that John served in a number of places, including Leyte in the Philippines. I can tell you from my own family history that Leyte was the site of the most intense firefight in the Pacific Theater. And the courage and the bravery of John as part of the Navy and family members as part of the Army, it was a pivotal battle in the Pacific Theater, which was able to turn the tide and make sure that our country was able to protect its democracy.
There's a picture in our packet, and you see a young man there, and for a lot of us, we start to remember ourselves as those young men, right? And I can only, as I look at that, wonder what thoughts were going through his mind and what he could have, what he witnessed, right? It's something to behold and something to consider and think of. And so as we remember that, I think it serves us all, not just as inspiration to wear the uniform necessarily, but to serve our communities and to serve each other.
It's quite an honor, and I'm overcome with it. I only served for a short time with my father when he was a plumber and the like. I served just a short time, or lived with just a short time at the Antley home, which was then the nursing home, and now I guess it's Shaker Place. But through that time, I was still, of course, in contact with him. He did a lot of work and helped an awful lot of people through those last 17 years until he retired. My father, and of course myself, he was brother-in-law to both Joe and Ed Zaloga, which are our cousins, are our uncles. And thank you very much for your time.